Fixing my bow tie. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Buy Black for Life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, I have to say, on the Buy Black for Life Saturday morning, this is my first of the new year, Education Saturday. So, welcome, Jay Hurt here. Um, Missed you all. So glad to be back. If you are coming in, just tell us where you are. There's a message because we are on Streamline. If you would like to comment, the way that we see who you are, you have to give StreamYard permission in order for us to be able to see who you are if you're commenting. So, welcome one and all. Buy Black for Life. And I have an amazing guest this morning. I hope everyone is ready for today. I know I am. I've been looking forward to this and the conversations that Jennie and I have been having. So I'm just going to start by reading her bio. And I'll start with Jennie Robles is CEO and founder of Intersection Faith Life Work, an executive coaching and diversity consultancy and trajective an online coaching platform. Excuse me. Am I saying trajective right?
Trajective.
Trajective, excuse me. Trajective creates equity in executive coaching by providing a personalized, affordable, and accessible executive coaching experience to anyone at any career stage. Our approach recognizes that value alignment and early access to executive coaching enhances workforce engagement, productivity, and business impact. After 10 years in HR on Wall Street, Jennie's industry experience, diversity, and recruitment expertise, and certified coaching training makes her a strategic advisor and partner. And I can attest to that. Jennie helps organizations identify and maximize opportunities to develop, retain, and enhance the trajectory of an inclusive workforce. And I think that's a big word that, for 2021, I really do. Intersection Faith Life Work and the Trajective delivers strategic, data driven solutions to bridge the representation gap of women, Black and Latino professionals in leadership as well as in executive positions. By Black for Life, I give you the amazing Jennie Robles. Good
Hi,
morning. Good
everyone.
afternoon, Jennie.
Yes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, by Black for Life and Jerome, for inviting me to this, what I hope to be extremely engaging conversation with you and just talking about a lot of different things, but most importantly, the significance of just being a person that navigates your career with ownership and clarity and just commitment.
Awesome. And Jennie, I'm just gonna jump right in and let you
Let's do
tell
it.
us. Yeah, let's talk about what. First of all, you went from the corporate world in doing the coaching, the recruiting, so much that you've done, and now you do it on an individual basis in your own business. Talk about that process of moving from corporate America over to doing it as your own, as an entrepreneur of yourself, and especially in this time of COVID, the way that you had to shift in that time.
100%. So, first and foremost, I would say that me being in this position and this really what I say is opportunity is only God. It wasn't by my design. I would have taken myself some other direction, I'm sure. But yes, I spent about 10 years in corporate and investment banking industry specifically, and I loved it. I actually did really great. I had a lot of ROI based on my role, which was in my last position as VP and head of diversity campus recruiting in the Americas at Barclays. I oversaw everything that related to bringing in, sourcing diverse talent at the bank. And so I was responsible for creating programming strategy and really making sure that I was aligned with all the business areas. And as I mentioned, I did really great with that. I had a great team that supported me. But what I began to see over time, I was there for 7 years. And then prior to that, I was at Citi. And I started my career in the industry at Morgan Stanley. I began to see that while the programming that was in place at Barclays was great and it yielded a phenomenal success of conversion with interns and those coming in even to the internship program, converting them to full-time employees. Once they became a full-time employee, there was a gap as to what do I do now? Who do I go to? What type of support will I receive, given that I had this great support network coming in the door? And so, not to say that there was a need for additional hand-holding or, white glove treatment for those individuals that came through any type of diversity programming, but there was a gap in the organizational commitment to fulfill what they had started in terms of engagement and understanding and ensuring that people were truly prepared to now be in that seat.
Right.
So I had a ton of conversations. I was meeting, and I have a strong network of those that were candidates that came through the program. I was traveling a ton, so I met many people, both students and BAs and lateral, experienced professionals. And at the end of the day, they were saying pretty much the same thing. I need support in terms of who do I go to? Right. I know you, but you're still in recruiting. Right. So I don't feel comfortable raising my hand to say, you know what, I don't know this, or I need some support, or I have a problem. And I don't want to bring attention to myself because I'm not gelling, or I feel like I'm not getting the recognition that I deserve. And I would love for you to help me to come up with some strategic plan. So a lot of those conversations internally and externally really began to make me realize that there was greater value to not just recruitment, but actually development. And so that began to prompt me to actually begin to conduct surveys. I wanted to have a good sense of this is what I'm thinking, but let me see what's actually happening. So while I was working at Barclays, I started to really survey my network, survey those that had come through successfully or maybe weren't selected through the very competitive, rigorous programs that we had at our firm. And that really revealed quite specifically what the pain points were. And I recognized that someone like myself, although I was in a position of authority and being able to have that engagement with the business and recruiting to really share someone's story and not just share resumes, that wasn't translating to helping them in their pain point. It was just helping them to be exposed to the opportunity. And so I began to ask myself questions about how can I really be of value to the need and not to the cause of just having a diversity recruitment team.
Right.
That's not enough. Right now, how do I take it to the next level? And when I was having conversations at my firm, which I do think supported me in many ways, they weren't ready. They weren't prepared. I think at the rate one of which people were needing the support, leaving the organizations for various reasons, out of frustration, out of just some of them believing that this wasn't for me, right? I'm hitting a wall. And even though I got here, now that I'm here, I don't really think that I made the right decision. And I was understanding that that wasn't the case. They needed additional support. They needed insight to pull back the layers to really someone tell them the writing is on the wall, but you're not able to decipher it because you're not equipped with the right instruments, the right mindset. And then you also don't have a place to be vulnerable, to just truly say, here's what's going on for me. Much of it is happening at work, but quite honestly, we're people. Some of the things don't have anything to do with work, but when you show up, you still got to make it happen. And so to really be able to understand how do you navigate what's really motivating me and compelling me to be who I need to be outside of work. But then as particularly women and people of color, professionals of color, now that I'm at work, there's an expectation that I got to put that to the side. How do I do that? And still be recognized for doing what I do really well. Right. So tons of questions, not many answers. And I really realized that I also was pigeonholed. If there's this strong need from the audience that we are, getting in front of and supporting, but I don't have a way to actually meet their need, then what is my true value? And so I begin to honestly ask myself, yes, I have a great paying 6-figure job, but is that really what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Do I end at the money? Do I end at the ROI that someone else has really, said that's what I should be doing? Right. Or do I step back and really ask myself, excuse me, what am I here for? What am I called to do? Excuse me. Mm-hmm. And so once I asked myself those questions, I realized that money is great, but I want to be able to have more of an impact. And if that means that I need to step back and figure out what I need to do to address this very important need that one was creating a bottleneck. And I'm saying Barclays, but this is not a Barclays specific thing.
Oh, it's corporate.
I'm sure that now, in this time and age, right, everyone is aware, but there's a bottleneck in the retention of women and people of color, professionals of color, Black and Latino, specifically professionals at the executive and leadership level. There is a strong need for, yes, having the technical aptitude, but it's not technical aptitude that's really the gap. Right. And what I found, many organizations are trying to identify, how do I, begin to support at this level being early mid-career, right? And so my colleagues, my peers, actually, I was that go-to person who, if you have a candidate or an employee that you want to have a difficult, and I say difficult, it's not difficult for me. Right. We're going to just have a conversation. Right. And I'll be transparent and honest, because that's what was missing. Right. And I'm not dialing into the emotional part, because when we're in HR and we're having conversations about your promotion, about your salary, there's no emotions that really should be there. So I need to make sure that I'm telling you what needs to be done or you need to be aware of in order for you to have the type of impact, success, and progression. So people were sending those conversations my way. And over time, it's just like, oh, you got something that's, you have something that you feel like you can't say to someone, Jennie can let them know. So tell Jennie to pick up the phone. I have a manager on a call and they're not really sure what to say to this candidate. And most times I'm like, it's not a big deal. That's a person, we're a person. But quite honestly, many times those were interns who were Black or Hispanic. They were employees who were Black or Hispanic. And what was really being said is that there's a level of discomfort or uncertainty as to how to be candid without coming off as if you're targeting that person. And so there was a lot of tiptoeing. Right. And that also is just some training, some, just understanding that, as a manager, we're going to have conversations. But if in some cases gender, but in more cases ethnicity is a barrier to communicating what actually needs to be said, then you shouldn't need the person of color to communicate that. We need to talk about what you need and how you need to be supported as well. Right. So a lot of conversations, but ultimately having people tell me over and over, have you thought about being a coach? And I'm thinking, I'm here as the VP and head of diversity campus recruiting, and you're asking me if I thought about being a coach. And I would always laugh it off, but people were serious. And I realized that's something that comes quite naturally to me, to connect, to understand people's story, their why, their purpose, and their motivation. Because when I understand that, then I have a better opportunity in my role at that time to help position them to other roles, other conversations, other people that I felt would be connected to the trajectory that they were seeking. And so
I want to touch on that, Jennie, because the way that you go about it is through data. You collect data. You for example, I've done the survey, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. You collect some data from a survey, and so when you get that data, what does that allow you? How does that position you to be able to then move that client in a way that's going to be comfortable for them in your conversations with them?
Sure. So being in financial services, I recognize I like connection, and I can talk once, we're one-on-one, I can talk to really anyone, speeches, whatever, it doesn't matter. However, data is what moves people in many ways, more than just the anecdote. So I begin to realize that if I had data and not just a lot of anecdotes about these are the people, here are their needs, and raw numbers, which is something that I was accustomed to in my role, then people would lean in, because numbers impact their business, numbers impact the bottom line of the organization. And so the surveys that I was doing in my role, but more importantly, as I begin to say, all right, outside of me being Barclays, let me dig into what my network is saying. I begin to, like I had mentioned before, I know the pain points, I know the challenges, I know the gaps, and those that analysis is what I begin to leverage to be the cornerstone of my business. So while I have expertise in diversity, recruitment, HR, that's not enough. I'm going to actually point to, here is the data, and how do I build a business around the data? And so what I actually coach people on stems straight from all of several years of surveys. That is how I position, here is the topics that I can speak to you on, because I've been really, sitting in this data for many years, in addition to just being researched and knowledgeable about what's happening in regards to trends. So from the data, I built the business. It was initially intellectual capital. I actually rebranded last year to Intersection Faith Life Work, primarily because I recognize, one, that's who I am. End of story. I am faith, life, and work.
Amen.
And I realize that, that's, values. I say faith, someone might say values, but values are something that we all have, right? And so when we recognize that our values are a key part of who we are, it impacts how we show up. And that impacts what, types of decisions you make about work and outside of work. And so I can't dismiss that or ignore that as something that is not relevant when I'm speaking to you about what it is that you want to do. So very quickly, I begin to understand that the surveys are great. It gives me a strong foundation for which I can have conversations about the topics that are important, not just to individuals, but to organizations, because these topics are, in many cases, the barriers, and then just maybe some of the challenges that they face for their career progression.
Right.
But then I recognize that I need to do a little bit more, right? So how do I help someone identify those pain points in a way that is so unique. It's not the information that I'm saying to you. It's not general. Here are some of the key things that you need to know, but an actual assessment that you can take that's going to reveal things without me even speaking to you. So you can't say that, Jennie influenced me, or, that's just part of what she does to draw you in. I want to actually help you understand you a bit more.
Right.
And that will allow me to understand you as well. And so in 2016, so I launched my business. I resigned from my position and decided to go into coaching like people have been telling me to do. But quite honestly, I felt that I was called to be a voice to those that didn't have a voice at the level that was needed to make change in organizations, and to give people honestly recognition for what they've done, who they are right now, and not who they are trying to be, and not who the organization is saying they need to be in order to have the movement that they're desiring in their career. So in 2016, I developed the Motivation Personality Assessment, and it is 80 questions that really focus on 4 themes. And these themes are, again, that came out of the analysis, the research, the surveys that I was doing with my network. But the themes are pressure and responsibility, asking for and accepting help, self-doubt, and self-image. And I found that people are motivated by many things, right? And someone might say, oh my goodness, when I wake up, I'm just motivated by the challenges of the day. I love my work, and I love it when I have that like rush that things have to get done. And even in the 9th hour, I find that kind of energy to push through. That's great. However, when you're speaking to someone, and when I realize people are saying that, but I actually know you. We've talked for a little bit, and now that we're talking, and I've had several conversations with many people, I realize that the thing that actually connects you is not the desire for the challenge, but it's pressure and responsibility. So what you thought was pushing you forward, the challenge,
That's interesting,
over time is wearing you down. And that could be mentally, it could be emotionally, and really worse, and bad cases, it's physically, and I will even say spiritually, right? So what was happening is someone is motivated because they have pressure. They, whether it's coming from their management team, internal pressure to succeed, to not fail. There were different components. Some of it is family obligations, right? Like, I need to do this. I have other people that are depending on me. So I can't not move forward. I got to push through. It could be peer pressure. All my peers are doing it. They're at this level. I got to make sure I'm at this level too. So I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work harder to make sure that I'm not in a position that's going to, one, bring negative light or impact someone's belief in my competence or abilities. And, others are financial responsibility. They just got to make it happen because they have financial demands. And still another one within pressure and responsibility is multiple priorities. People aren't just doing work in many cases. What I found when I was interviewing, and I did a lot of interviews, behavioral interviews during my time at the firm, and I recognized that a lot of the people, and I'd probably say a good 75% of the hundreds of people that I had interviewed over my time there, many of them, again, we're talking students, MBAs, they were supporting family members financially. They were sending money back to maybe someone who's not in the US, but other immediate or extended family members in other countries. So not only Is there that financial demand? There's these multiple priorities. Some people are working, multiple jobs while they're putting themselves through school, or supporting, they might be a primary caretaker. So when we get out of the campus world, we're talking about, other real life responsibilities. Those were the things that were motivating you. And it wasn't the challenge. And just not having the right language, or quite honestly, the time to unravel or pull back the layers. That's the easiest thing. That's the kind of the most tangible thing that you can point to. And the assessment is helping you pull back those layers. And it's revealing that, okay, this is a new way of thinking, because we're told that motivation propels you forward. And I'm saying, yes, it does. However, that is very misleading, and also very much a temporary situation, because what is happening is that over time, you're actually you're being drained. Yeah. And it's not a sustainable way to approach one life, but very much your career. And that is a game changer for people to really begin to understand that, okay, and I can even say myself, I am successful. So that's not me. I don't really feel drained. I'm super successful in my career. I have support here. I have this. But when you sit down and you really begin to ask yourself, what's pushing you, right? How are you showing up, right? Are you showing up? And then again, some other themes. Are you showing up in a way because, you're fearful, right? Like you there's a lot of fear of not being successful, of failing, just because, there was a lot of prayers, there were a lot of people that helped to position you to where you are. And so you're not going to let them down. But at the same time, you're not really sure if you know what you're doing. It just has happened to work, right? And so that seems like there's that kind of success formula. But you begin to realize again, like, okay, that's great, but now what? Right? Like, so how do I continue this? And like I said, over time, and this wasn't one person, it's every single person that would take the assessment, but even before the assessment, it was very clear that they wanted to show up differently. And they weren't really sure how. They weren't understanding what tools, what support would allow them to be their whole person, right? And I understand that there may be some hesitancy to be your complete, whole, authentic self in the workplace, and I understand that. But that shouldn't come at the risk of you being who you really are, right? And so you have to mask it. So the alternative to mask, again, seemingly kind of helps you move forward to just get things done. But over time, right, this isn't a solution. And so I wanted to position the motivation personality assessment as a very, very strong resource for women, professionals of color, but everyone, right? And I'm very much accustomed to knowing that I have a specialty. So my specialty in corporate was diversity,
right?
Identifying, sourcing, supporting diverse candidates. Mm-hmm. But I, Jennie Robles, understood that that is not who I am, because I am a recruiter, right? In terms of my role, and my expertise is helping to find the best people for the opportunity. And I know that this motivation personality assessment is something that is for everyone. However, it uniquely identifies the voice that in many cases have been missing from executive coaching, right? Because then that's something else I began to realize. And that was a shift in my business mindset. And again, you mentioned COVID and just 2020, I should say, I did have to make a shift and understanding, what is the opportunity here? because I was coaching one-on-one primarily prior to, let's say, 2020.
Right.
And that was, great.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize that intersection faith life work and trajective together is bigger than that, right? Because the reason for me leaving corporate was to be of the greatest value.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very much aware that it's not about addressing a kind of symptom. You got to get to the root, right? And so the root was, in my opinion, executive coaching. Executive coaching is traditionally thought of as something that when you reach a particular level or you are tapped on the shoulder, then that is when you have an opportunity to have access to coaching. And essentially, executive coaching is really about management and leadership development support, navigating and really making sure that you are maximizing your potential to lead and grow others, right? And you have the support that you need for yourself in your career. But if that's only at a particular level, I'm thinking, what about all those people I just brought in?
The others, yes.
But I'm saying I just brought in, but what about all those people I met that I had this very important role, significant budget, support, all these things, but it's only once you're at the kind of top that you have access to what we all know is really great opportunity to build yourself as a professional and primarily an organization. So I really was like, wait, that doesn't really seem to be equitable.
Right.
And it seems, and I just gotta be me. It just seems biased, right? And how is that? Right. And so I began to ask myself the question, am I trying to add value to people, or am I trying to transform an environment, an experience, an industry that will allow everyone, particularly those that are not having access, the greatest opportunity to enhance their professional trajectory? And it was scary, and it still is sometimes, because I know that there may not be that many people that will say that executive coaching, one, is very expensive. And so if it's expensive, then there are people who don't have access to it.
Right. Yeah.
And so I had to ask myself, which problem, which opportunity would I get in front of? And I'm all about vision in terms of, I see something, I feel like God has put it in my heart to think about it, to be about it. And even if I feel like I'm not prepared, I got to be obedient and then go follow that. And so that's what I did. And that's what I'm doing. I am pursuing that big question. How do I ensure that executive coaching is equitable, it's affordable, and that people have the access that they need when they need it? And for me, one solution, because I'm one person and I know that we are all capable of greatness, and there is plenty of opportunity to enhance this space, executive coaching. One solution is trajective, and just being part of intersection faith life work.
So intersection faith life work is one piece, and trajective is separate.
Trajective is the online coaching platform.
Got it. Okay.
Right? So that's where you can actually go there, take the motivation personality assessment. I also have a quiz. I get it, 80 questions. Really, if you're going to
no time at all for
exactly.
To be honest with you, it was real. I was surprised how quick it was. I was like, I did 80 questions this fast, so it's really simple to get through it. So anybody that thinks 80 questions and is freaked out, no, it really took me less than 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most. So it really was nice and seamless to go through it.
And the thing about it is that what I think about it, I'm like, listen, There are so many people when 10 minutes, it's like 10, like you said, depending on the person, 10 to 15 minutes max. It really shouldn't take you that long. It's not meant for you to be like delving in and thinking very deeply
Oh,
with your first
no.
reaction. But my main thing was, how do I scale me? Right? Like, I can't have these conversations one-on-one. And my goal is that as many people as possible that can take the motivation personality assessment, it's a plus. One, it's free. It's free to take it. I didn't want to charge people to take something that I'm saying you should have access to. You should have access to just information that's going to help you learn more about you. And I provide strategies. So information is great. What do you do with it? Right?
Yes.
What's the call to action?
Yeah.
Right? As people like to say. So after you take it, there's high level, right? So it's not everything, but high level strategies for you to begin to think about, right? So, okay, I took this assessment. It's going to give me a high level summary, some things that I need to really I could think more deeply about. And then here's some ways to really approach that, given my individual score. And so my goal was the assessment, now that it's on this online platform, allows me access to people that I would not have likely otherwise, but also allows them access to a key resource. And I have many that they wouldn't have access to.
Yeah.
And you can take it whenever you want to, right? You don't have to wait for someone to say, you know what, I think that you're ready for that next step. I think now let's talk about leadership development for you. I'm very keen on, each person should own their trajectory. I don't say career.
Right.
Careers change.
Right.
Trajectory is whatever path you're on, regardless of your career. Everything you do is part of your trajectory. So how do you maximize your trajectory? For some people, it's about getting there faster, right? So going through the process in terms of the coaching really will allow you to have insight, strategic thoughts that the people will bounce off with me as a coach. But it will also create just the empowered mindset that I am capable of managing, navigating, but owning my career.
It's so funny because as a financial professional, I'm always asked when people find out that's what I do. They always say, well, what should I invest in? Right. And I'll always say, if anyone in this industry gives you an immediate answer to that, my advice to you is to run away, because we are like financial. We're doctors. I need to diagnose what it is that are your symptoms. And it sounds like when I was going through the survey, I said to myself, this is so much like what I would do when I sit with a client. I'm going to diagnose what the symptoms are. And from there, and you have the analytics and the data to support it, then I can begin coaching them from there. And that's the same thing that I feel with financial. If I know, do not put me in anything that I could lose money immediately, I know that's not something, or I better know, that's not something that I should ever put before you. So we're like doctors, I always say, in what it is that we do. But Jennie, I want to ask you. I did my survey. I don't know if you have the results in front of you. I know.
I do.
I went through it and I was like, wow. Like there were things that I thought I was strong in that it revealed to me I really wasn't, and that really surprised me.
So yes, let's dig into this. So for everyone watching, Jerome and I have not scripted this. This is like real time. Real time. So Jerome, you're good?
I'm vulnerable. Let's
okay. You are vulnerable. And to me, that's where great things happen, right? So first and foremost, I appreciate you just being able to take the assessment and sharing live right now your feedback, or what I'm going to say, I'll debrief you on what the survey found. So after you take the assessment, it's going to give you a overall zone that you're in. And you are in the secure zone. So there's 5 zones. The thing also about the assessment that I will say, usually people want to score 100. Let's say if the max score is 100, 100 is great, right? I'm great. That is not the case in this assessment, because remember I said, generally speaking, people believe that what motivates them is giving them strength and power and kind of like, pushing or pulling them forward.
Right.
This assessment is saying that your scores indicate things that are actually draining you, pulling you away from being who you really want to be,
Right.
but also it's impacting the decisions that you make at work and how you show up. So the lower your score is actually the more positive outcome that you would want to see.
So I hope I got a 0.
You actually, so the max score is 240. You are at 60, right? So you're not going to see those things. I see it. Right. So that's actually really good. So I remember I said there's 5 zones that you could be in. You are in the second zone, which is secure. And so that seems great, right? So someone would say, okay, so Jerome is good. So what's going on? So let me read back for those that obviously don't see what I see, and even to share with Jerome. So when you are in the secure zone, it means that your motivation assessment score indicates that your career decisions are somewhat influenced by anxiety, vulnerability, uncertainty, fear, and/or insecurity. However, you are more likely to objectively approach and proactively respond to professional setbacks with poise. It's likely you believe life experience shaped rather than defined you, and you leverage lessons learned to navigate the workplace. Your ability to adapt to changing situations and priorities has allowed you to steadily progress in your career. You've cultivated a solid network and are secure in your professional path and abilities. Generally, you feel as if your needs are acknowledged, recognized, and met. Your firm confidence in your voice and abilities allow you to express thoughts and ideas at work without fear or judgment. You are open to and accept feedback and criticism, enhancing opportunities to hone and develop skills, as well as identify developmental areas to make necessary adjustments. Overall, you feel supported and established, and you believe you are firmly positioned for continued success. So that was your summary. So you tell me what your thoughts are in terms of the accuracy of that summary.
Spot on, actually. I really do. And it being in the positions that I've been in, I've been the only one in the room, Black and male. And while in my mind, I might walk into that room and feel intimidated for some reason, it never stopped me from using my voice. And my mother also always used to joke with me, because you're left-handed, you see the world from a different perspective than everybody else. And it would be so true that I'd walk into the room and everyone would see something one way, and I would disagree and see it from some place differently. And when everybody took a pause, they were like, I never thought of it that way. So early in my career, when I started to be able to become comfortable with my voice and voicing, after that, you couldn't shut me up, to be honest with you. So yes, that's spot on. The part about vulnerability kind of surprised me. I always, I'm a vulnerable person. You know that. So yeah, that part kind of did surprise me. But yeah, I think it's really spot on, to be honest with you.
So again, and I'm glad that you feel that way, right? So I didn't say it. This is one of the great things that I have found with every single person who's taken an assessment. They're like, that is me. Now, to your point, vulnerability, it says and or, so it doesn't necessarily have to be. And even if it's a small amount, it's going to let you know. And that's one of the things that I think I like about this assessment is because just because something is right now a pebble,
Yes.
doesn't mean it can't become a boulder.
Amen.
But I'm just going to allow you to know there's a pebble in your shoe, Jerome.
Yes.
Watch out.
Okay.
Right?
Because the pebble could nag you, like the boulder that's there, you know where it is and you could remove it. The pebble nags you all day. So.
Absolutely. Or you've grown to ignore it. And that's like there's so many things. You ignore it, you dismiss it, right? You play it, you play it, right? And over time, something that was a pebble, now in your career, now in the way that you make decisions, has grown in size.
Wow.
And so one of the things that I really, really focus on with my clients is, yes, I know that you said that this wasn't something you want to focus on, but in terms of the diagnostic that has all to do with you and less, really nothing to do with me, you need to know all the things that's happening up in all aspects of who you are.
Yes.
Because one of the key things about the more people who take the assessment, I'm going to be able to recognize and help you understand trends. So right now it's a pebble. Someone else, I can say to clients, based on the number of people, based on the people who've taken the assessment at this stage in their career, this pebble looks like this now.
Right.
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 And so it's not only about what's happening right now. It really is informing. I help to inform you about all the other people. Like we said, we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us.
Amen.
Same thing. All the other people who have taken the assessment, it continues to provide such value and impact to those who show up and take it. Right.
And we need to talk about the survey, because I know, and you have to excuse me, I didn't include that in ensuring that it was here. But if you give me the link, Jennie, I'll add it so that our members could take a look at it. And I know there's more that you wanted to talk about with respect to the survey. So let's talk about the survey. And again, folks, it's 80 questions. It took me 10 minutes, tops, 10 minutes. And again, Jennie and I did not like rehearse this. My results, her reading my results, the first time we've discussed it. So believe me, it's great to hear that, because I think we all have blind spots, right? We have blind spots in life. We have blind spots in our careers. And when we think about that, all of that is intertwined, really. And what that survey does is help us, become aware of those things. Like you said, the pebble that's in my shoe, and I need to find it and crush it, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. So I'm going to say a few things. I'm still literally on a day-to-day basis, I'm still developing the platform. So please don't be alarmed if you're saying like, hey, it says pilot. It's not a pilot. I'm updating things. I did the pilot. I have great insight. And because of the pilot, I'm making a lot of necessary changes to enhance everyone's experience. So you can go in, you can take the assessment, it's free. If you have any issues or concerns or thoughts, I'll make sure to put my contact details in before we wrap up. But Jerome, that's not it. So I want to get to a little bit more.
Sure.
The great thing about the Trajective platform. So we've been talking about the motivation personality assessment. Trajective is an online coaching site. So it's rooted in take the motivation personality assessment. That's going to give you your unique, no one else but you is going to have the outcomes from the assessment. Once you, as a free user, you get high level information. If you desire coaching, there is coaching a coaching experience, group coaching with some one-on-one with me, limited one-on-one, more focus on what you and your group partners are doing. So you pay for having group coaching, individual coaching that's rooted in your assessment. And one of the great things is based on your assessment scores, you are going to get specific coaching workbooks that is designed to support your score.
Wow.
And help you move forward so that you can address the themes. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's themes. I said 4 themes: pressure and responsibility, asking for and accepting help, self-doubt, and self-image. Within those 4 themes is what I call personality profiles. So I mentioned some of them when I was talking about pressure and responsibility, peer pressure, multiple priorities, right? I'm going to jump to something that revealed with you. So yes, secure is great. Secure is a good place to be.
Right.
But a pebble, it may be a pebble of various size. For you, is your primary theme that I want you to think about, Jerome, is asking for and accepting help. That is what your assessment revealed. Okay?
Correct.
That's the primary theme that kind of reverberates.
100% correct. 100 without a doubt. It's and it's not that I think I know it. I think those of us who are in that space where we're always giving to others, we don't ask for it when we need it. So 100% correct. And you've helped me. We had a conversation. You said, I see something, I need to talk to you. And we had I have to learn to ask for it instead of me sitting in the cut, sitting back and waiting for someone like you had done, Jennie, waiting for someone to be able to offer it unsolicited.
Yes, I'm going to dig a little bit further, right? So there are several personality profiles within asking for and accepting help theme, okay? One of them, which is what you actually scored very high, 75%, is what I call the hashtag you got this.
Yes.
Now, what does that mean? So I'm going to read it for everyone. So hashtag you got this. This is really, let me go to your, there's an error. Well, I don't need it. This, essentially, there's 2 things. So one, and I'm jumping, but one, the motivation personality assessment is going to tell you, here's your summary. Here is now the prevalence. What is the prevalence of these themes, these profiles? So there are 4 prevalence. Are you governed by things? Are you guided? Is it situational or is it trace? In terms of these things show up and impact, influence how I make decisions, right? For you, primarily you are guided, which again, that's not great, but at least you're not governed. Right? It means that's your default all day, every day. You make decisions based on this.
Right.
You are guided by hashtag you got this. Basically, that's saying that you're influenced by, hashtag you got this is influenced by how other people perceive your role, your skill, your expertise, or your interests. It means that you don't even have to volunteer. You're not even in the room, Jerome, and someone's talking about, we have such and such that is going on today. Who can we ask to take the lead on this? Jerome, he's the person for the job. Let's make sure we tell him that we need him to do X, Y, and Z. We feel that he's really great at this. He's going to be perfect. No problem. Sometimes that's great. That could be something that people are excited about. I'm not in the room, or even if you are in the room, you haven't raised your hand. They just said you're going to do it.
No,
You're
yes.
great, right? I need you.
Right.
It could also be You know that someone has said your name, threw your name in a hat, unsolicited by you, but I don't know if I can do it. But Jerome says I can do it, so I guess I'm gonna do it. Right? So you may not have the complete confidence that other people have, but because they see you as that, you show up as it.
Wow.
And again, that could be good, but it also doesn't address, right? The people that just say, okay, what's the problem? It doesn't address the doubt that you had in yourself. It doesn't address the second guessing that takes place before, as you kind of put on the armor of, I'm about to step in and do this.
The cape. I call it the cape.
And the assessment recognizes that, you know, I'm describing situations that make up the profile. You could be one, you could be the other, you could be a combination, but it's basically saying other people's perception of who you are to do something, you step up and you get it done.
Get it done.
Right?
Yes.
Now,
ahead of schedule.
Of course. Now, where coaching comes into place is helping to recognize some of the longer term impacts. And for some people, it doesn't take that long. They are maybe not at capacity. And we're talking all levels. This isn't one level or the other. This isn't necessarily, I would say, gender-wise, I find more women. Right? Just by some of the roles. So that's a very common theme in many women, but it also is common for people who are great at what they do and are highly received and perceived by others, that they are just asked to do things. Now, it impacts your time management, right? Can you do it? Well, now you don't know if you should push back. What if someone's senior? What if someone in a great position or someone you admire asks you to do something? Are you more willing to say you can't, even though you know you don't have the time, right? So a lot of things become, it's kind of like a snowball. It just becomes part of this whole, you got this.
Right.
You're not saying that. Someone else saying, you got this.
Yes.
Your confidence. We kind of talked about that. Where are you in being confident and empowered that, yes, one, do you want to do it? That's something else. We do a lot of things that we don't want to do. We have to. And it's the need versus want, right? That comes into play, that begins to wear your motivation, the way you show up. Wow. And then something I talk a lot about, but when you first are taking the assessment, you're not thinking these things, boundaries.
Ooh.
Are people encroaching on boundaries that you have for yourself? Do they know them? Have you expressed them? Are you even aware of the boundaries that you may need to set? Because it does speak to other people recognizing, let's have this conversation with Jerome to make sure that he is prepared, desires, right? Before we just say that he's going to do this. And so there are a number of real key issues that can begin to fester that people don't address. They just show up and get it done.
Right.
And they may begin to harbor resentment. They may feel like nobody really even recognizes me. They recognize that I do it, but do they even know me, right? If they knew me, they would come and talk to me. They would come and see, right? So there's a lot of things that we begin to have our inner talk, the inner critic, that we're not expressing, that we're smiling and showing up. And at the end of the day, it's not really who we are, but that's how we're making decisions.
Wow.
And so what some of the things, and again, just from coaching aspects, why I was saying the things you begin to think, the things outside of you may ask yourself, well, I'm going to do it because I don't want to appear that I'm weak or that I'm not good enough.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Weakness. The very first thing. Honestly.
And so you got this, right? So their mantra becomes your mantra. You got this.
Yes.
Many people don't want to be rejected for a lot of reasons, right? It's great to know that someone says you got this, right? If you're in the room, great. And if you're not in the room, that's even better. You're thought about when you're not in the room. right? That is great. But again, for all the other reasons, you may say, all right, I got this, because you just don't want to be rejected. Maybe someone might feel like, I finally am in. I finally have, I feel like, I don't want to say seat at the table, but I have a space in my environment and I'm being recognized. They see me, but do they really? Right? Because then sometimes some of the questions, and I'm not just talking about any volunteer, like, please no one get, the mindset that you can't be volunteered to do something. I'm just saying, like, a more habitual thing, right? These are over time, chronic things that is usually being assessed, right? I will say, just as a point, the assessment is not, as you had mentioned, it's not a medical appointment where you go for your like annual wellness visit. Mm-mm. This is meant to real time, what's happening right now for you. And if you were to take this, Jerome, in 3 months,
it could be different.
So this is
or even 3 years ago, it could have been, because I remember when you first had it, we had a meeting in, was it 2016?
It was 2016, the summer of 2016.
Right. So it's definitely a different Jerome from then to now, without a doubt, to the Jerome that is now. So I get it. It's an ever evolving thing.
100%. And it is meant for people to have a heightened awareness really all the time, right? You can't take this from day to day, but every couple months. This is preventive. This is also really meant to be reflective, right? Like, you know how people journal.
Yes.
This is something almost like a true motivational journaling.
Yes.
Right? That people can come and take to get a pulse on what's going on, right? Like, I know I talk to people, but now this is my time that I'm putting in to these 15 minutes to really get a sense of like, what's going on with Jennie Robles right now? What is it going to reveal? And what are some things that I can say, all right, now I'm going to dig in and I'll work on that, right? And if I want to work with someone to support me, I'm going to actually make sure that I sign up for Trajective. I'll go back real quick and then we'll wrap up with you.
Yeah.
Rejection and it's taking off the mask, right? Like, wow, if I don't do this, then people will really see me, right? I don't know if I want them to see me.
Imposter syndrome.
And so internally, what you may be thinking or feeling is, I don't want to disappoint myself now. Like, right? I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to be someone that I feel like other people can't rely on. It also could be trust, a trust issue that like, listen, this is a relationship that I'm trying to cultivate, and this may be my opportunity to ensure that they trust me. And also it helps, or it may not help to have the, clear out the way for uncertainty you may have about your ability or desire. At the end of the day, once you have these insights that you're going to see from the assessment, again, hashtag you got this is that you're in the guiding profile. So it's a strong influence on your motivation because you're primarily informed and directed by your thoughts, which we just went through.
Right.
Your emotions and feelings do play a role because they trigger your thoughts. And so that's the inner critic, that's the imposter syndrome, it's a ton of things.
Right.
That can limit your ability to embrace the likelihood of the outcomes that you want. So some of the strategies, and this is why I have this in place. It's not just informational. There's some strategies for you with hashtag you got this. Is just recognizing that saying no is not an indication of your character.
Got it.
Setting boundaries and know when you're compromising your priorities. Being resourceful. Oh, you said I can do it? Well, maybe I might need to delegate, right? Maybe someone else, and again, depending on the situation, maybe I can empower someone else to step in and do something. Understand.
I want to touch on the no, because Cecilia, my wife, and one of the things I'm learning more and more from her is, even though I say no to, for example, a project, it's because I might be saying yes to me.
100%.
I might be it might be that I've said yes to something else, and I I in my industry I get from clients no way more than I get yes, but I give more yes to things than I do no. So just hearing that from Cecilia has taught me, even though I'm saying no to something, I'm saying yes to something else, meaning I don't have the time. I don't have the ability to be able to do it. So that's something I'm going to certainly work on. So thank you for that as well.
Absolutely. And I fully am 100% behind what Cecilia said. Is something I share with my clients. I'm going to talk real quick. Just because you are available, that doesn't mean that you're free.
Mm.
It's very true. And
That's powerful, Jenny. Please expand upon that.
it's something that I think our culture, and I mean just likely, I'll say American culture, but just culture in general, we are one accustomed to packing our schedules. It makes us feel busy. We see that we're busy. It means productivity. And in many cases, being a woman or a professional of color in the workplace, you need to look busy in order to show that you're adding value. Not so much that we're not necessarily in the office, but I know for sure, having spoken with many clients, there are other ways now that even being virtually, you need to show that you are still there, right? And so just because you have availability doesn't mean that you are free to be doing what other people need you to do. How are you going to be spending your time? Who should your time be spent on? Your energy? All of these things are extremely important because there are habits that very productive, successful, progressive in their trajectory. They have habits that don't mean that their free time is being leveraged by activity. It's intentional activity that is going to be driving some very specific desired results. And so I think it's extremely important, and I'm very, very keen on being strategic.
Yes.
It's not just about checking the list, right? What is the list? Is it urgent? Is it important? But ultimately, does it add value?
Right.
Because the people who you might be reporting to, what you're working on, they're working on things that have other value metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not dialed in to the value metrics of the bigger picture, then you are just doing things that are spinning the wheels. And while that's important, this is executive coaching.
Yes.
This is positioning for you to understand the mindset of that larger trajectory that's not the today step. We can figure out how to make sure that you're not stumbling and that you are taking in the stride that's necessary to get you where you need to go. But we're also going to be working on ensuring that you are extremely aware of, prepared for, and in a position of power to step into the larger strides.
Wow. Whew. Yeah, you called me. You called me out on it. Thank you. And you know, you think it's there or you think you know it, but like you said, to actually see it, instead of us, like you said, hitting data points and things that we say, to see it. Wow, that's powerful, Jenny. You hit it on the spot, and we are actually overtime, but I don't care. Any additional things, resources, information that you would like to share with our group about what it is that you do, about the survey, because I think this is a powerful conversation. I hope to have a follow up with you sometime down the line. Um, I hope that whoever, any of members of our group who are watching, listen, this information for, and this is me getting it right. I get it now. Those blind spots I have, it's powerful for our trajectory, right? And it's not, like Jennie says, it's not just career, it's trajectory, because career can take on many different steps, levels, faces, genres, spaces we occupy. Anything more you want to share, resources you would like to share with our members?
So I would say that I'm excited. I've been excited about Buy Black for Life. I think that it's a just phenomenal opportunity to be dialed into just the talent of this very great diaspora, and to understand, and that I've even witnessed since you've been in this space, the variety, right? The nuances that we
Yes.
all bring to the table. It's mind blowing, but it's inspiring and it's exciting. And so what I will say is, this is something that, yes, is my business, but I promise you, I am always thinking about how do I really be a resource and how do I serve? I don't know how else to say it, right? And so I feel blessed and just honored that I'm called to be in a space to add a voice and to help really this segment of our world be where they're supposed to be, and know that they have the support when they need it.
Amen.
And so I am, yes, committed and just feel excited about Trajective. So what I would say is, I would love for anyone, and I'm going to put really, I'm saying it's a registration link. It's more like an interest link. If what we have been sharing interests you, I want to know, and I want to connect. But more importantly, I want you to take the motivation personality assessment. Why? Because it's data. Data is powerful. Data will be able to make things happen in organizations, right? Organizations right now are already asking me, how do they get access to the data?
Wow.
Because they understand that, wait, you know pain points, you know nuances of gender, and you're able to see certain slices across the analysis that's going to impact our organizations, how our employees are thinking and feeling, they aren't expressing, that's not being captured on our employee surveys, right? There's a safe space to what I've created, but there's a safe space to the experience that I'm also cultivating. And so I want as many Buy Black for Life members, your friends, I would please encourage them to take this, because I'm leaning all the way in. Real talk. Listen, the Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, the DISC, that's all out there. And I know the organizations, for a lot of reasons, are leveraging that. This yields an opportunity for voices to be heard and expressed and acted upon in a way that I know is likely not being done today.
Amen. And
so I want an opportunity to have a real place in all of those assessments,
right?
And to know that it's impacting the people that may be listening to, and that are listening to what we're doing today. That's what I'm ready for. And that's what I really feel like I've been called to do, to give exposure, data, real insights that's going to be, one, helping the people that's doing it, but also providing just a lot of new information that I can write about, that I can speak about, that I can ensure people and organizations know about, and can't be, I guess, you have no choice but to say, you've been told,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
Like word on the street is, and so right now I'm making sure that I cultivate and just empower the masses to take something that is free, to take, and that will give you insight and hopefully will give you encouragement. If you know that you deserve to be here and you do, here is something that I feel confident that will help you. And if I personally can be a part of that experience, that's just one part of me being great in the world. And so I'm excited. And again, Jerome, I thank you. Let me grab this. Again, I said it's a registration link, but it's really just an interest link,
Okay.
for anyone that really would like to learn more about Trajective. And then I'm happy and absolutely will give them more insight about how to get started there.
Wow, Jennie, this hour plus has been unbelievably informative for me personally. It's my hope, and I'm adding what you just added. I'm adding it into the comments for our members to be able to see. Um, it is empowering for me personally. It's my hope and prayer that our group members, because we all are on some sort of trajectory, right? Every single, no matter what it is that we do, we are on a trajectory. So I've added it into the chat. If you are interested, click on it. I've added the assessment into the chat. The more the merrier. Please let's share it. I hope that it gets to the point where you're like, okay, Jerome, shut it off. It's too many.
Before I forget, and I almost did. So for every, I had another number, but I'm going to say to get it in there. It's for every 50 people from Buy Black for Life that does this. I want to, so the registration form, Jerome, I just sent, it would allow me to have people's email addresses. Okay.
Got
For
it.
every 50 people from Buy Black for Life that goes and completes that form and completes the motivation personality assessment, I'm going to purchase $50 of that person's, if they have a business, if they want to refer a business. So I want to give back, right? Yes, it's free, but listen, everyone has to be supported. And
Yes.
if Buy Black for Life is showcasing who you are in terms of your business and your aspirations to be successful, that's my way of doing it. So I don't know if maybe I need to put a cap on it, right? But for right now, maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll be a $500 cap, right? But I'm willing and I'm happy.
You know, it's 170,000 people in here.
I know. So that's why I was like, all right, but no, Lord, come on, abundance.
Amen. Amen.
But yes, so I really mean that. For every 50 people, if you have a business and I'll randomly select, I don't know, Jerome, how I'll do it, but you and I can connect.
We'll figure it out.
I have your business link. You send it to me. Randomly select a person, $50 purchase from your busince. So I'm excited to get to know a lot of members and what they're doing in their business.
Jennie, you are, first of all, your family to my wife and I. You already know, Cecilia and I. This is family to us. Her beautiful family. We love you. We support you in everything and anything you do. And also we lean upon you for that coaching, because no matter where it is that you go in your trajectory, you still need that coaching. Even a CEO needs that coaching. So no matter where you are, at what point in your career or your trajectory, you need that. And trust and believe when I tell you this, the amazing Black queen we have with us is all that. And if you did not hear my own assessment, please go back and listen. It was not rehearsed. I did it a few weeks ago and we just went over it, and it really hit on some amazing points. So I hope and pray that we get thousands of you to be able to take the assessment and just see where you are. And Jennie, thank you for your time. You've been with us for our amazing women's roundtable, which was probably one of the most powerful things that we've done in this group until now, I think. So I want to thank you for your time. Um, and you already know if there's anything we, Buy Black for Life, can do for you. You already know what Cecilia and we already have that. Anything we at Buy Black for Life can do for you, this platform, it's always here for you. I've shared your Instagram, your Facebook information. I've shared the business information. Buy Black for Life, please. This is one. We care about your business. We care about your career. Um, you have to invest in yourself. Take time for yourself. This is the way that you do it. Take 10 minutes to take the survey. Trust me, you won't be sorry. So
Absolutely. Jerome, don't forget this. I just sent another link. It's the registration interest form.
okay.
Yes, put that up there. This is for people to, this is how I can track their businesses.
Yes,
right?
I have that in there, Jennie.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, I did add that. We're great. Folks, use it. Use the information that's there. Use the links.
Jerome, let me put my email in here.
Okay, great. I just want to say, this is the first Education Saturday that I've done for the new year. My amazing co-founder Jay Meese did one earlier. This is one of many for this year that we know that we're going to continue some amazingness in this group. One of the people that has helped me with that is Jennie. She called me and she said, Jerome, this is what I see. So automatically we acted upon her advice. So if I know it's good for us in this group, trust me, I know it's good for you and your trajectory, you and your business, and us as a community. So, Jennie, thank you once again for the love of our people. Buy Black for Life. And I'll always end with be kind to yourself. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, one and all.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.